Funding for On Story is provided in part by the Alice Clayburgh Reynolds Foundation. Innovative funding since 1979. On Story, presented by Austin Film Festival. Welcome to a look behind the scenes of the creative process with some of the film industry's most prolific writers, directors, and producers, as well as a showcase of short films from the region's most promising filmmakers.
When I was in Vietnam, we all acted out the movies we'd seen about World War II. I mean, to John Wayne was a verb. You know, don't John Wayne up that hill. And when I made Jarhead, one of the scenes that I really wanted to get in there was when they were watching Apocalypse Now, and that was how they were styling themselves. One of the things particularly about war movies is that you can make them as true as you possibly can and as anti-war as you possibly can, and I guarantee you there's some 18-year-old kid out there who's going to find them romantic and want to do it himself. But I don't think that means you shouldn't try to make the movies. It's just that it's just one of those phenomena. I'm sure people, you know, there are going to be kids growing up watching the, you know, Hurt Locker and thinking, God, I want to do that. That looks so cool. I put that big helmet on, I go down, and it's nuts. But that's life.
I was really surprised. I was telling you backstage that I started calling some CEOs who'd recently been through corporate downsizing and some of the human resources people, and they were very anxious to talk to me. And a lot of the dialogue in the film actually is directly taken from those
Why were
conversations.
they anxious to talk to you?
Well, I thought they, I guess the glib answer would be the same reason that people who are guilty seem to want to talk to detectives.
Yeah.
There was a sense of wanting to explain themselves and what they had to do and why they had to do it, tremendous guilt around it. The entire last speech that Craig Nelson has with Tommy in the lobby of the building is almost verbatim what one of the executives said to me after they had done a huge round of downsizing. You know, that we gave them, we gave them a paycheck, we gave them health benefits, we gave them disability if they were hurt.
We built something here, Jim. Together. Together. It wasn't just you, it wasn't just me. It was all of us.
They got a paycheck every week. Medical if they got sick, disability if they got hurt. And hell, it's a business, not a charity.
You took home $22 million last year, and these people have lost their homes, their marriages, the respect of their children.
We did what the market required of us to survive.
I believe that there is some kind of a responsibility in between your employees and your employer to look after the collective interests, and sometimes that can mean making a little bit less money so you don't have to fire as many people, but I had these arguments in the discussions that I had and was dismissed as naive. So I get an opportunity to do a film and say what I think, and they can't say anything back.
Did you? Nice.
Certainly when that movie came out, it was characterized as, oh, this is that angry white man syndrome, right? Because those were the times. Plus, since it was set in Los Angeles and it came out right after those riots, it was perceived by the critics in Los Angeles and lots of other people as not part of the healing process. You see, because there was racism against Koreans and against gang members and against people who played golf. And here's a guy that begins here, he leaves his car in the middle of a traffic jam in downtown Los Angeles, and he's really about to flip. And he's gonna walk across Los Angeles through every ethnic neighborhood, through the poor and then the rich, and then he's going to wind up on the pier at the end of the land, at the end of the American land. He says, I'm the bad guy? He's having the showdown with the sheriff and he says, I'm the bad guy? I don't get it. I think it was actually sort of ahead of its time.
Now let's go meet some nice policemen. They're good guys. Come on, let's go.
I'm the bad guy?
Yeah.
How'd that happen? I did everything they told me to.
It was a really common theme amongst the people that I spoke to who'd been through this, where they had tremendous shames. They felt they lost their families down, let their families down, and it was one of those things that when you interview people a lot about something, you have recurring themes. And one of the recurring themes was that they thought their children wouldn't respect them as much or love them as much, and actually discovered that the children provided them with strength, would come forward and say, hey, Dad, you're going to be all right, which to a lot of the men in particular was sort of the most heartbreaking moments for them. We've had a culture in which we've wanted to attain more and more, and now the world economy is making that more difficult, and a lot of people, I think, are finding themselves having to retrench, and some of that retrenchment is very difficult and painful, but it also allows for some other things. And that, again, was another one of the kind of the common threads that I heard from people, which was really difficult, the worst thing that ever happened to me, in other ways, the best thing that ever happened to me. And I was just trying to capture the essence of that, and it's easier to do with kids because they're always really sympathetic.
You don't have to worry about me, okay? Hey, look at me. You don't have to worry about me, all right? I'm your dad. Understand me? I'm gonna be fine, okay?
If you watch Michael Clayton, that's ultimately, you could characterize it as a political film, but really it's a film about a guy who has to make a moral choice about all kinds of things that are happening in his life, and he's a fixer, which is obviously, whether it's for a law firm, or it could be for a lobbyist, or it could be for a political party, or he could be a dirty trickster. He could be many, many recognizable things, but that's ultimately a political film. But then you can watch a film like you said, Robert Redford, if you watch The Candidate. So you see from backstage, you see the fights, the tricks, the whole thing, but the last line after he winds up getting elected is, what the hell do I do now?
See, I told you they'd beat me.
Marvin, what do we do now?
Wait a minute, what?
One of the things, the sort of secrets of Apollo 13 is that we wanted it to be an antidote to the kind of Reagan, I've got mine, every man for himself attitude that seemed to be prevalent is what made America great. This is a movie about a bunch of people not working for profit, but for a larger cause, getting together and doing something extraordinary, about what we can do when we work together and confront a problem. Now, if I asked 100 people if that's what Apollo 13 was about, I guess 0 would tell me that, but that's the sort of subliminal thing that made me of interest. Castaway really is about coming home from Vietnam. That's why I wrote it. The island is war. I mean, I wanted to see what it was like for someone who went off to a world which was so different than the one he left and came back and found that nothing had changed, except he had. Again, that's what what I think we should be after is to be subversives, and not shy away from what's going on out there because it's important.
Hi, my name is Katja Straub and I am the writer and director of the short film Martha. As a filmmaker, I'm interested in that line between reality and dream or imagination or memory. And film is, I think, the perfect medium to explore that. And that's what I was trying to do with Martha, to show the point of view of a child and a child's imagination. And the focus was a little bit about the transition between those two realms. When I was a small child, my father used to always tell me this story that I fell off of a gypsy wagon as a baby, and that he really didn't want to have anything to do with me, but my mom wanted to keep me, and so that's how they took me home and raised me as their child. And I think there was a time that I really believed him, and I was a little bit afraid of that. But a few years later, when I was about 7 or 8, that's when I really wanted those gypsies to come back and pick me up and get me out of there. So this film, Martha, is about embracing your family, because of course, it's, as I grew up, I understood that the grass isn't greener on the other side, and that I have the best parents I could have ever asked for. Coming up is my short film, Martha. Enjoy, and thanks for watching.
My father gets tired of places. We have to move all the time. His latest dream is to own a restaurant. So he made us move to this dump. He is ridiculous. Dad, you look retarded.
Come on, you're not a real Gallucci unless you can decapitate your egg.
I don't want to.
You're not a real Gallucci anyway. You fell off a gypsy wagon.
William.
That's how we found you. What?
When I was younger, I was scared that the gypsy story was true. Now I wish it was. Don't touch that! Get out! Wait. Let's play Caroline. I don't want to.
Hey, Caroline.
Can't you wear a shirt?
It's hot, sweetie.
Don't go far.
Hey, Caroline, you know when you do that, your ears stick out even more. You liar. It's true. Your ears get worse every day. Ah! Stop it, poop face!
Why was he wearing a dress?
I don't know.
Hi.
Hi.
Mark Davenport.
Martha.
I live over there.
Cool.
I better go. Bye. You have really nice curtains.
Thank you. Hey, Mom, can I go visit a friend?
Sweetie, I'm busy right now. Go ask your father.
Hi, is Mark here?
Yes, he is.
Yes, please.
I really liked your hair today.
Thank you.
Do you want to see my guinea pig? Want to hold him?
Yeah.
Here you go. Good boy, Benjamin.
You want a what?
I want a guinea pig.
You know, in Peru, people eat guinea pigs. I should put it on the menu.
Mom, you wouldn't let me have a dog because they're too much work, but a guinea pig is much easier.
We'll talk about it later, okay? Now go get your brother so we can have dinner.
But I never get what I want.
Hey! Do what your mother tells you.
That headband won't help your big ears, Dumbo.
My daughter! There you are, my baby!
Mom tells me you found a friend. You know, maybe you should invite him to the opening tomorrow. Him and his family, I could do some yo-yo tricks.
No, they can't come.
Why not?
Because his family is too busy and they won't have time.
Look at hot and greasy.
Thanks for coming, everybody. Let me show you my dog. Have you seen my dog? Yeah, no, he comes back to me. Watch this. Sometimes he's a good dog, sometimes he's a bad dog. Come here, boy. Here, boy. Ah, he came back. He's a good dog. Hey, have some cake. You'll enjoy it.
Your bare hands, put that down.
It's
Come
just
here,
a
back over
kiss.
here, please. In fact, I think it's time.
Let's
Let's
go.
go.
We're having a good
Mark.
time. We're having a good
Now.
time.
Take off your shoes, please. Give me those shoes!
Tom, do you like it here? I guess. But don't you miss any of your friends? I don't know. Well, good night. Good night. You know, Tom, your ears don't stick out.
So, what do you think, huh? How'd it go?
I think it went great.
Went good.
It was amazing.
All these people in all the places.
I know, I didn't think so many people would come.